In this video, I'm going to describe to you in detail exactly what Pete Cowen means when he talks about spinning the trail arm, because it is definitely a contentious subject amongst a lot of viewers, because it's the understanding of it which I think a lot of golfers get kind of confused about. Some asked, do I actually have to close the club face on the way down? Some actually say the arm's not spinning at all, and both of those things are incorrect. The big thing about this is actually understanding it. And I remember myself, when I first heard that terminology, even myself, I thought, that's a weird one. That doesn't really resonate very well. Obviously, the more you learn about something, the more it starts to make sense. And hopefully this video is going to help a lot of you that didn't understand it, maybe start to understand it. If you don't understand, that's absolutely fine. There's actually lots of ways to swing a golf club. And that's the beauty of the golf swing as well. You don't have to subscribe to a certain swing thought just because one coach says that's the way he likes to do it. There's lots of different ways and lots of different coaches that describe things in different ways, and that's the hardest part of our job, but also the most fun for me personally, trying to say something in a language that you understand. There are going to be some comments on this video that say that's a load of rubbish, that's false, that doesn't work, you're talking garbage. Of course there's going to be, because if you don't understand it, some people are scared to try and learn about something, or if you don't understand it, that's absolutely fine. One thing that we can agree on is that Pete Cowen is one of the world's best golf coaches. He's coached major winners for God knows how long. So he has a body of work that proves this is actually a fact in his mind and with his players. He's had players that have come to him and gone, not for me. He's had players that have come to him and gone, you're the best. So it shows that even with the best players in the world, this theory doesn't work for all of you. But I want to make this video so you can understand more about it. Guys, if you are new to the channel, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, if you actually want a golf lesson and to try and figure out how your trail arm works, down in the below in the description is a link to my Skillist profile page where you can come to me for a golf lesson remotely, obviously, unless you want to fly to the beautiful Bristol Golf Club here in the UK. But we can do it remotely and it works borderline better in some ways. You've actually practiced more, you've got a lot more accountability, which is good for 99% of you. So this trail arm, I'm going to refer to it today as my right arm, because we're right-handed golfers. Majority out there are right-handed golfers. So we're going to talk about how this trail arm spins down, but let's talk about how it gets up first, okay? So if I take my setup, my forearm, I'm going to try and roll my sleeve up so you can see a bit more forearm action, or the noodle, let's call it the noodle. So as I set up, my forearm is pointing kind of out, not directly down the target line, just right of target. Now, as I swing up to the top of the backswing, my forearm now points across, okay? So it points directly across my body. Now, as I swing into the transition, if I didn't move this forearm, if it didn't spin, let's forget the word spin, if it didn't rotate, okay? If it didn't turn, if it didn't move, it would look like that. So see how my forearm is now up? It's not pointing to the position it was a second ago, it's pointing up to the sky, because my whole body has turned, but my forearm is pointing up. It's the only part of my body that hasn't moved. Now look at this club head and the shaft. The shaft is massively stuck behind me, and let me tell you there, folks, it is wide open. And this is what Pete talks about a lot. We see this so often. Even if you swing it out to in, forearms up, face is open. Even if you try and swing it on the inside, forearms up, face is open. So we see this so often. So if I swing up to the top of the backswing, forearms going across, I don't move it, okay? I'm just going to tilt my body into position. I've got to try and get under the club so I create an unhealthy amount of spine tilt, and the golf club comes in wide open. Face open to the right, shanks, push slices, everything you want. If I swing it from the inside and early extend, I don't move my right arm, forearm points up to the sky, face comes in from the inside, wide open push slice, unless I can manage to flip through impact. So if I swing up to the top of the backswing and I say, right, my forearm's pointing across, I want to continue to rotate my forearm as I rotate my body. Now look, my forearm is making its way back to the start position, which was down the target line. Look at the golf club. Toe of the club's pointing in, shaft of the club is more down the target line. If I continue spinning, rotating, turning this trail forearm, as I come into impact, forearm pointing pretty much down the target line to where I started. Golf club pointing at my target, shaft pointing, leaning towards the target. So I've got that little bit of shaft lean. So I've got the angle of attack and I've got face pointing at the target. Did you see the rotation, the spinning? The spinning of a forearm doesn't need to be, whoa, into there. We're not doing that. We're not turning the forearm down. Okay, I'm not going to the top of the backswing and I'm not closing the club face. I'm not turning my wrists to close the face, okay? I actually did say this to Pete, is it like closing the face? Because I know that for a majority of golfers that don't do anything with this forearm but try and turn the body, they leave the face open. So I know if you square the face up or close the face, look where my forearm starts to point, it starts to square up a little bit more, okay? But all that's done, it's just moved my wrist. It's a bit of a quick fix, but it's a good little feel for you. Now, if we swing up to the top of the backswing again, now I'm going to try and make sure that my forearm basically just returns back down the target line. Remember, as I started, forearm pointing pretty much towards the target, okay? Into the takeaway, forearm starts to naturally turn as my body's turning, as my swing is rotating away, so is my forearm, it's rotated away as well. I've turned my shoulders about 45 degrees to this point. I would guesstimate that this has also turned about 45 degrees. As I turn up to the top of the backswing, I've turned 90 degrees in my upper body. My forearm now is pointing over there. So it's kind of turned 90 degrees. So the idea is that the golf swing, the movement, the mechanics, everything rotates around that circle together. They're pointing at different parts during the golf swing because they're moving on different planes. So they won't move on the same plane, but they're moving different relative to something else you might spot out. So from here, my hips turn 45 degrees. My shoulders turn 90 degrees, my chest has turned. I've worked the golf swing, I've spiraled the golf swing up. My forearm pointing across, my forearm relatively vertical, not perfectly vertical, but relatively vertical. I see a lot of golfers out like this. So into there. Now as I start to bring this golf club down, I think the easiest thing for you to try and do is to mimic the arms working down as the body turns and bring that forearm facing to the target. I think that's the best way that you can start to feel how it's turned. It's not turned more than anything else, okay? Remember, the way Pete explains something might not resonate with you, and I'm really hoping that this video does resonate. And again, if you think it's a load of garbage, that's absolutely fine, because it's a proven body of work, and we know scientifically, mechanically, it's not garbage. But if it doesn't resonate with you, then that's absolutely normal. Don't worry about that, okay? If no one's offended by it, there are other ways for you to think of stuff, the golf swing. So as you go to the top of the backswing, the why I love this is because for me personally, it helps me get the golf club back in front. I'm that golfer that goes there. I drop the club inside after a full junior life of slicing it. I'm that golfer that drops it inside, early extends, forearms up to the sky, and he flips it. That's me, okay? Golfers out there that swing it to the top of the backswing and they don't move their arms, but they spin the hips, forearms up to the sky. It's the same position, okay? So if we now focus on getting that transition as the arms work downwards, as I turn from about waist height, you'll see that my forearm is now at the target. It's not up towards the sky. And this is one of the most important aspects of this understanding, is where this forearm's pointing, because we talk about spinning the forearm, and I've done this drill before where I've said, right, you know what, cock the wrist back so the palm's pointing to the ground, swing up to the top of the backswing, and I've often spoken about where this palm's going to point. So you get to the top of the swing and I want to bring this palm from the sky back down to the ground. The forearm has turned because the forearm is back to target. If the forearm doesn't turn from the top of the backswing, what happens is the body turns and my forearm and my palm stays pointing out there and my forearm is pointing up. So forearm to target, palm to ground, up to the top, palm is pointing there, okay? So my fingers point to the target because I've got that rotation. And as I start to bring that swing back down, palm to ground, forearm to target. If you don't move it, the forearm's up, the hand's all over the gaff. Okay, so that's where this really comes into its own. Okay, so understanding the mechanics of the movement is the only way to get golf shots that do stuff like that. That was nice. These golf tips for me, honestly guys, you won't understand, you won't believe this, but they reinvigorate my brain. They give me the right things to think about. I teach, my golf lessons on this platform are based on my online skillless lessons, are based on your comments, and are based on my own golf swing. So I'd like to think we all help each other out. So in that instance, please hit the subscribe. Swing up. Oh, ball flight. Bit pulley, but great ball flight. So guys, I hope that has made sense. If you've got any questions, just drop them in the comment section below. You can disagree because it's not something that resonates with you. That's absolutely fine. If you've got a question, drop them down. I will do my best to answer. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it with a friend, and let the whole golfing world know what this video has been about. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.